You kill your wife based
what I
on
can
an
at this
assumption that you might have insurance.
I couldn't kill anybody. If I could, I would have killed her the moment I called her, doing it again the second time.
This is 44-year-old Timothy Bozza, who hired a friend to kill his estranged wife.
I had always hoped that something would happen to her. Not that somebody would actually kill her like this, but something would happen to her. So that it could just be me. That afternoon he called and said it's done.
On August 29, 2010, Veronica Bozza, a music video producer who was shot outside her Hermitage, Tennessee home. She and Timothy were just weeks away from finalizing their divorce and had been locked in a bitter custody battle over their 9-year-old son. Timothy suggested to his friend, Coy Cotham would kill Veronica, and in return, Timothy would kill someone Cotham wanted dead. Timothy later claimed he was only joking, but prosecutors presented cell phone records showing the two men communicating the morning of the murder and testimony that Cotham expected a sweet paycheck afterward. Veronica carried a $550,000 life insurance policy, and Timothy was a beneficiary while they were still married. In the end of this interrogation, you will find out his sentence.
What you are admitting?
Yes, sir, but I was scared to death and didn't know what to do. And it's like, I hate to say it, but I'm sitting here now after you showed me all this stuff. My first thought is, I'm telling you something. He's got friends on the outside that he runs with. What if they're just like him now? He's been to my house where my mother is. He knows where my son is. I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, he might not do anything. Of course, he's in jail. But I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what might happen now at this point? But I had told enough half-truths, not knowing what to say, that I can't do it anymore.
So you say you never paid him anything?
If it wasn't for work, he didn't get anything. No, sir. And it was never.
How did he come up with $35,000?
I don't know.
How do you know about the life insurance?
Well, I guess maybe he just assumed. He'd asked once, and I said, I don't know, but I was going to check.
So you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah, Corey's a player, like you put it.
Corey's a player, and evidently he's been up and down the thing, so he's going to understand the idea that there's probably life insurance involved for his benefit.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I don't know, sir, because I didn't know.
And you're telling us that based on some kind of innocuous discussion you had about a movie and some other stuff, that this guy's going to go in broad daylight driving in the neighborhood.
No, sir, I'm not telling you anything
and
except
kill your wife
except
based
what I
on
can
an
at this
assumption
point.
that you might have insurance and that you might give him some of it. That's what you're telling us.
I'm not telling you
You can
anything
see why
except-
that's kind of hard.
I absolutely do.
And Corey's not stupid.
No, sir, he's not.
He may be a lot of things, but he's not that
I don't
dumb.
believe he is either. Corey's done an awful lot of things that I know of
Oh.
that he's not stupid. He's got a couple of degrees, I even believe. I don't even have a degree. But I have told him enough things, and after speaking with you alone to 3, I don't want to put my family through a lot of stuff. They're gone through enough already.
Yeah, they're going
to go through some more. I agree, absolutely.
And,
and I am the cause of all of it at this point. No matter what happened, I'm the cause of it.
Oh. His phone calls will be monitored in jail. There'll be all kinds of stuff done. I don't know if he's got clout other than he's shooting his mouth off. We haven't seen him running with a lot of bad people or anything like that other than abusing women. That's his deal.
Has he told you, in that other stories and specifics, please get into them, because we didn't.
No, I don't really have specific. He said that it sometime, and this has all been since the death, that the cops were hot and heavy.
Talking to him,
Well, the cops were hot and heavy on him for some things years ago that they couldn't find him guilty of, is what he was telling me. Because I was going, why are they after you so strong and heavy in the very beginning? And again, that sounds weird, but I didn't want to believe it was him no matter what at this point still. I truthfully did not want to believe it.
You just thought it's a coincidence that he calls you up and says it's done the same day your wife's murdered.
I know it sounds weird, but if you were in my position with everything that was running through my head and my concern about my son and all that stuff, yes, sir, things don't make clear sense all too often for days. And by that point, I was so far into this, I didn't know what to do and how to get out of it.
And after he came and said, I want $35,000, I'm going to go change my identity and go to Atlanta and do all this crap. And you say, no, he didn't threaten you, your family.
No, sir, he didn't.
He just walked off and said, well, I guess I made the wrong assumption.
No, sir, he didn't. But, He never did that either. He didn't threaten me, he didn't anything.
So why would you be worried about him putting him now?
Because I didn't know, well, again, it doesn't make sense. I didn't know he was as bad as what has been presented to me today.
Oh, yeah. He knew he was pretty bad. When he came and said, I want $35,000, I ran in and fought with your wife and chased her down and shot her in the head.
I know it doesn't make sense,
And killed
and it
her.
sounds
You said, well, hey,
stupid. I agree.
let's go shop at Home Depot.
I agree.
And then let me talk about it. I won't even go smoke cigarettes unless Mike still smokes if you want.
Can't have one till January.
They're getting everybody. Let's talk for a minute.
Okay.
I mean, you can leave this in here.
Okay, we'll cut it off. What's important to understand here
He
is,
needs to talk to you like he talks to me.
I'm going to, if I can speak.
well,
I understand
let
the
me tell you-
severe consequences of everything I'm looking at here.
Okay.
I may be stupid, but I've advised him fully on that. He knows that this isn't. He did. What a conscience of this job sucks. I mean.
I made the statement before that my son needs everything.
And he should.
I know now I'll never hold him again.
That's not true. We'll be able to meet with him some.
Who would want to be with me?
Your son will.
Corey did this, no ifs, buts. I know it. We did not talk about money until after it was done, as I said. We had talked about it before. Corey had told me that he had followed Veronica on 2 other occasions, but he'd never done anything. I love Veronica. She did everything for me. 16 years. It didn't matter what I did, it was never good enough. When I called her, she looked me in the face and said, "Courts are on my side. You'll have nothing." When it was done, I had nothing. I had nothing. Then she tried to take my son. We worked through that. We got through that part. And a couple of times she made the comments that she would take him and I'd never see him again. I hadn't heard him in a while, and that's why the wording was the way it was, that she felt it was best he stay here, and Susan had sent me over a case that he had tried where they said, they needed to stay here and they couldn't go. I never believed anything she ever said. I called her bold-faced with her boyfriend. And she came to me when she walked inside and lied to me right there face to face. I never believed anything she said. I had always hoped that something would happen to her. Not that somebody would actually kill her like this, but something would happen to her. So that it could just be me and my son. We talked about the criss-cross kind of idea, that whole thing. I couldn't kill anybody. If I could, I would have killed her the moment I called her, doing it again the second time. I couldn't do it. He told me twice he'd fought her. Didn't do anything. Inside, I still hoped. But I didn't believe it. You're there twice and nothing's ever happened.
Why did he tell you followed? Because of your discussion you had about killing him?
Yes.
Okay.
That morning we had talked and went face to face, in fact. He knew where we were going to be.
Okay.
I still decided it was him just mouthing. But to be honest, even though we were getting along, I could easily stop. It could just be my son and I had this new girl, and we were getting along so well, and every time we were to the point to where we could go somewhere else and do the next step, she did something to drag it back. Our divorce should have been done forever ago. And I finally thought we were there. But I don't know if we were going to be there or not. People had told me she wanted to get back together. I didn't want to. I didn't know what was going on. But I still had a hope this much that something would happen to her. Unfortunately, Corey did it. I feel terrible about it. Even though I had hoped, when it's actually done, it's terrible. My son loved his mother, whether I did or not. She's gone. That afternoon he called and said it's done. That's when I said I can't talk about it. Then it was real. I didn't know what to do. Shortly thereafter when we talked, and again, I said it, and it's the hardest thing maybe to believe. Even though I wanted it done, and the little piece of me that did, I was so shocked still that it was done. I didn't know what to do but be normal. I had to, I thought, for myself. If I fell apart worse than I already was, it wasn't going to work for me. Afterwards, he told me, which I mentioned the cops were hot and heavy on him for some things previously that they could never prove them. He told me there were homicides too.
Was he specific about those?
He didn't tell me. He said at one time they thought he was the biggest dealer in all of Tennessee and all this stuff, and it was some stuff intertwined to that, and some other stories about things he'd done.
Right. Did he ever tell you he killed anybody else?
Oh yes, sir. Those 2 murders, in fact, he said he had. But I don't know. But at that point, him saying yes, I did it, and I got away, made me start to say, okay, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go to jail and be away from my son. Stay normal. Maybe he is smart enough that if he did it, he'll get off. I didn't know what to do at that point. I was 2 hard places, not even a rock and a hard place. I had wished and hoped, and it came true, and then I didn't know what to do because I didn't want it to be true anymore. So I stayed normal, and I know it might be hard, but I didn't know what to do.
Well, you all text a lot that morning at 7 in the morning, didn't you? After putting all this deal about...
Explain to Tom why you, and about the, like, why you don't believe some of the things perhaps Crumby's told you or whatever, why you don't believe that to be true.
Well, there's lots of things.
Well, I mean, what was he driving when you talked to him?
When I actually met him that morning, he was in a car, or van of
He was
hers.
not in the Escalade, Silver Escalade.
He wasn't in the Escalade, I promise
What
you
was
that.
he in?
The van that
The what?
a van
Right.
that owns. A small little
Where
van.
y'all, where are y'all at? I mean,
We went to Bradley Parkway close to Interstate 24 when we met
That morning.
that morning. He said he was in town, where was I at? And I said, I'm at the market getting a drink right now, getting ready to pick me up. So he rode by there and we chatted and talked.
About
Well, we just kind of chatted and talked. That's when he first broke into, some more details about the girlfriends and all.
So he was in the van.
Yes, sir. He was in fact.
Okay. Did you ever see the gun?
No, sir. But, and then he called afterwards. I mean, I didn't even see him following Veronica. If he was anywhere nearby, I didn't.
how long was it from the time y'all left having that conversation?
Oh, I was probably there waiting another 35 minutes or so. Because, excuse me, the girl I stay with, she goes to church. Church starts at 10:30, and it's just right down the street from her house. So I probably would have left there 10-ish or a quarter after 10, which is in, considered Ashland City, but it's between Joelton and Pleasant View. They're on Old Clarksville Pike. So, what, a 30-minute drive maybe into town, no traffic on Sunday morning, just going straight out and then out Bradley Parkway to pick up, which I do every Sunday afternoon. I'm with her Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, sometimes even on Thursday. So we went out, and Corey was there. Corey was sitting. But at this point, a little piece of me still hoped. I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I've been so angry through all this stuff with her. Even when we were getting along, she would still lie to me. And I could never get past it. And then he told me he did. And then I didn't know what to do but be normal and hope and pray that he was half as good as he thought he was and he could get off. Because if he got off, I felt I had a chance that I might get off. And I prayed to God every night, and I already told him, I know at the end I'm getting my due just. No matter what I do, I'm going to hell, I know.
Well, you're doing the right thing. You really are. Try to carry this out no further for everybody concerned.
My family's suffering. I can't let them bankrupt themselves like they would to try and get me out. There's enough stuff that you said that's true, and there's enough stuff that you said that's not true that I know.
There is a weakness. It's all silver. Now, what you didn't say was his escalator.
Well, I believe that. I know.
And I didn't think he'd be stupid enough to drive it in there like that either. But,
And there's not a neighbor.
12:30 on it's the biggest that I know. I mean, good
I
God.
don't know.
Eating on the back porch?
But there wasn't a neighbor that saw me the day before either.
There wasn't.
Well, no, sir. I mean,
That's not a
you
lie.
said it.
I've seen the police report, and that's all
Really?
I know. I haven't interviewed
Oh, well,
him.
there was no way.
Sometimes
Never.
when you talk to them, they say, oh,
Right.
maybe it was a week before. I don't know. I haven't interviewed him. All I know is
Right. I had been
They-
over there
they-
probably 4 weeks before.
they didn't make that up.
Right,
There's a
okay.
person that said they thought
I was
maybe it was
gonna
somebody
say.
else. Hell, maybe it was Corey. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you mentioned earlier that Corey had actually gone to the house. I never knew he'd even gone to the house before. He told me he'd never been to the house.
So it's important, you know, now that you're coming forward, that you tell us the whole truth, because your value, as far as getting
I
any
can't tell you, I
consideration,
did it.
is a weakness.
I mean, that's
Honestly,
it.
I understand.
I
Was
asked
there
him
talk
to. I
about,
told him that morning.
was there talk about money prior to that?
No, sir. Not that I can recall at all. No, sir. We had the idea that, like I said, he had this guy that he absolutely hated. He absolutely hated. We took a trip to Atlanta a few
Why
weeks
wouldn't
back.
he kill a guy instead?
Again, it's because of the connection to, I guess, he didn't want it looking at him.
Yeah.
Y'all took a trip to Atlanta, is this where the guy lives?
No, the guy lives here in town, but he was talking about him the whole trip a while back. I mean, like, we were going to do some business together with these jerseys and things. He was talking about all these guys he knew that would buy these, and we were talking $20,000 for the jerseys we were going to buy and split between 4 people designing the website. I mean, I won't deny the connections that we've had forever, but I still never really thought he would do this.
Did he give you what's the guy's name? Do you remember the name now?
No, sir, I don't.
It was just ex-husband.
Well, they're not ex, they're
Her
married,
husband, it's her husband, we know.
and they're in court. But I mean, he told me stories afterwards about how he got off of all this stuff, and I started to buy into it that maybe there was a chance that if I just stayed the status quo.
You told him you would do the husband if he did your...
Well, that was long before all this happened. That
But
was
then he came
long
and you
ago.
said, I followed her twice, so he was obviously following up on it.
Oh, yeah.
And when you saw him that Sunday, you knew what was going to happen.
I had a feeling, but I
Yeah.
still thought maybe he was just bull like he was the other times. Again, like I said, it sounds terrible, but when someone takes everything from you, it's the only thing that matters.
What market did y'all meet at that morning? Did you say it was a market you met at?
Down the street there, one of the fathers of church, I believe, owns it. It's if you were getting off of 24 going towards the school, it's the old First Market right on the right-hand side, like maybe 100 yards up the road. I don't know, maybe it's a Shell or something, I think. But I stop there every morning to get drinks, and when we go to school, take them into school.
Did y'all go inside together, or was it all
No, it was in the parking lot.
Did you get out and talk in the parking lot?
No.
Side by side, or
We were in the vehicles.
just pull up and talk?
Yes, sir.
What did he say?
Again, he was just kind of BSing about the night before with the girls and all that kind of jazz.
But you knew he was there for a purpose.
Yes, sir.
You-
Well, I figured, yes, sir. I felt.
Y'all
But I didn't
talk
feel the
about
need to
it?
talk about it.
You didn't talk about it at all? He didn't say nothing at all about it?
Well, we talked about where I was going to be, which he knew then she'd be there.
Okay, so you told him where you were going to be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then afterwards, he called you, I think, 4 times that afternoon after he did it.
I
You
didn't
don't
talk to him
recall
but the one time when he made the comment, and then I never answered the phone again. I'm almost positive I did. He
Did-
called an awful lot of times, and I never answered the phone.
Did anybody else around when y'all discussed this, or anybody know about it? other
No,
than
sir.
You too, you think?
Not, well, again, you're talking about he was showing guns to everybody, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody else. To be honest, most of the time that we ever talked about anything was just he and I.
When he asked the $35,000, what did he say when you told him you didn't have it?
He really didn't say much of anything.
Did you tell him you hadn't gotten any insurance yet?
Oh, yes, sir. I said, there is no insurance.
Well, you knew there was insurance.
Well, no, I told him there was no insurance. I mean, I'm primary suspect. They're not going to release anything to me. I mean, that's the part I don't get, why he would have thought, if he was this guy that did this, was this kind of smart guy, why he would have thought insurance was going to be released to me.
Was anybody with him that morning in the car with him
No,
when
sir.
y'all met? Or did he talk about anybody going with him to her house?
No, sir. No, sir. There was somebody who was talking to on the phone, but again, I don't really know what the conversation was.
While y'all were together?
While we
he
were
was talking
together,
to
yes,
somebody
sir.
else on the phone?
He talked to somebody
You
else.
don't know who that was?
No, sir, I don't.
Do you know where the mattress is?
No, sir. He kept talking about a mattress. The only mattress I knew of, and he actually took pictures of it and had it in his phone.
Yeah, he shot the gun into.
No, that's not the mattress I'm talking about.
Oh, that's not.
There was a mattress just a few weeks back, before this happened. His mama had been living in a house with no drains at all in her house, except for one bathtub drain, and it was slower than Christmas. I went in and I replaced all the drains underneath the house floor. Corey and I did. He'd hand me stuff and I was doing all the work. As we finished up and were leaving her house, she said, "Oh, can you help me get this mattress and box springs out of her room?" That they were bringing a brand new set. She'd finally gone out and bought a set. It was the oldest, most rottenest, beat up mattress I'd ever seen, and box springs. I mean, they had holes in it that big where the springs had come through it.
Yeah.
And we literally took it out and laid it on the back porch. If you saw the patio, I don't know if you've seen pictures, but there's stuff stacked everywhere. His mom was a hoarder. That's why he took a picture. He said he was going to send it to that Hoarders TV show. Other than that, I don't know about any mattress. But I do know that because we've seen copies of the warrants that were served, they were asking for a mattress that had bullet holes in it. And I was going, if that's the one they're talking about, not that I'm aware of, but there was all kinds of holes in it, but it's where his mom had been sleeping on it for 50 years of her life.
Well, he may have just seen it on his phone and thought that's what it was.
He didn't show you that gun that morning?
No, sir.
He didn't talk about how he was gonna do it?
No, sir.
And after it was over, the details he gave you about what happened?
He didn't.
None at all, other than what
He
you've already told
said
me?
it was done, and then he tried to tell me that she ran and said, and I told him point blank, then I don't even want to know. And I don't even think, I think that was a face-to-face meeting, and at that point, I just said, I don't even want to know, man, I got to know.
He said that she ran and he shot her. Is that
Well,
right earlier?
Hey, he didn't say, well, this maybe he said he shot her. He said she tried to run, that she put up a fight. And I said, well, I know she did, damn it.
And then I think he said then he shot her.
Okay.
That's, I'm not trying to put words
I
in your
don't-
mouth. I think that's what you just said.
And I may have, at this point, I don't remember that. I don't remember exactly, but he tried to tell me, and at that point, I just cut it off. I didn't want to know.
But he did acknowledge that he shot her.
I believe so, yes, sir.
What did he say he did with the gun
I have no idea.
afterwards?
I have no idea. Those are the things, when he said that, I said, I don't ever want to talk about it again. I'm done. I don't want to know nothing about it. And the reason I said that was, to be honest, was that I knew eventually I would end up here, right off the bat. If I didn't know something, I couldn't tell a lie about not knowing.
What did you discuss about what if the police come to you? What do you say?
I would say exactly what I did say, that I was at home with my family.
I'm not saying, I'm saying, what did you and Corey, you had to talk about, okay, this is done.
Oh, I just told him point blank that I was going to say exactly what I had done. I mean, I was at home. I was with my son. I was at the grocery store. I mean, it's...
And is that, did you do things specifically?
No,
to
sir.
do it how?
No, sir. Every Sunday, after I was gone for the 3 or 4 days span, my mom would be out of Coke. My mom is a Cokeaholic and has been my whole life. You get her a 6-pack, it's gone in a day. You buy her a 12-pack, I buy them by the case for her, in most cases. That's one of the first things she calls. Are you coming home? Can you pick me up some sodas, some Cokes? So no, sir. The stop at the market was our Sunday routine, whether it be Publix for us to get things for him for school, whether it was, you know, drinks for her because we had food. No, sir, it was a regular routine. Sunday was grocery store day.
Well, what about the specific text messaging the next morning, or that next morning where allegedly he finds out through your text that she's dead?
He texts, "Good morning," and you say, "No work today. Veronica's been killed."
Right.
He said, "Oh no."
Again, at that point, to be honest, and it sounds weird, but at that point I still didn't want to believe that he'd actually done anything. He'd already been out twice supposedly following her, nothing had happened. I truthfully just didn't want to believe it. And I know it's impossible, but even though I had partially wished or hoped, the whole time part of you doesn't want it to happen too. And they were conflicting with each other.
He called you up, said it's done. You ought to talk about him doing it. He followed her twice. You saw him right there.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about it all at
But
the
she
same
was-
time like
She was
that.
dead within an hour.
But we didn't talk about it all at the same time like that, sir. It was not in that kind of order there.
But if I understand correctly, the bottom line is, through all this different conversation, bits and pieces here, y'all basically
I
made a
had
deal
hoped.
that you were gonna kill somebody for him, and he was gonna kill.
Well, no, sir, we had ruled that out too, because I told him even before all this that I could never do that. I mean, it was kind of one of those things that was said partially in jest, partially not at a moment of something. But I told him point blank I couldn't kill nobody.
Well, then what did he ask for before? Because
Never.
If
He never asked for anything until the time he asked for money.
and that was afterwards.
Yes, sir.
See that? I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. It don't make sense to me. If y'all talked about the fact that one was going to do one was going to do the other, and you blew it off and said no, and then he starts following her, and he goes ahead and kills her, and he doesn't know he's going to get anything up front.
Corey,
I don't buy that.
Corey has been involved in my life so much, and I have always described him as a pit bull. If he likes you, he's loyal beyond all belief. And I'll sit here and say, chances are, you asked me earlier if I thought he'd roll or not. Chances are he's still going to hold his guns unless you specifically prove something that I said. He's going to stick to his guns, I'm certain. Now, he may not, but
He ain't got any guns to stick to. Yeah.
well, I agree with that, but I'm just saying. If you would have asked me
But
before you showed this.
you all met
Yes,
at the
sir.
station.
Yes, sir.
He describes the killer as blindly loyal, a pit bull. Yet minutes earlier, he admitted the man demanded $35,000 immediately after the crime. This is a cognitive dissonance masterclass. On one hand, he needs the killer to be irrational and loyal to justify why no money was discussed beforehand. On the other hand, he knows the killer is a calculating career criminal. The word pit bull is infantilizing. It turns the murderer into an animal acting on instinct, not a cold-blooded strategist. This allows the speaker to see himself as the object of loyalty, not as a man who bought a murder. It is moral disengagement in real time.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
You must have had a telephone conversation about where you were going to be and where he was going to be.
Well, yeah, he said he was in an area, coming
So
back
you
from
met-
someplace, and I
so
said,
you
oh, I'm
met-
over here waiting on Benjamin.
And you meet. He
Yes,
knows
sir.
you're picking up your child. He knows Veronica's
Yes,
gonna
sir.
be there. And he's already told you he's followed her twice.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, you had to know that was...
I'm not, I haven't denied that yet.
Okay.
That piece of me still hoped, for whatever reason, just because of that.
But he doesn't just get up on a Sunday morning and come out there to meet you right where you're picking up your child. without-
Well, when we talked, he said he was already in the area.
Yeah.
So he may have already been coming. I don't know about that part, but we did meet.
You
And he
meet-
knew where I was going to be. No ifs, ands, or buts.
But if the man, if you told him, no, we're not going to do this.
Let's get back to that's where we got before he asked the question. Excuse me. Corey's always been an extremely faithful friend. When he lived with us, a man down the street, Veronica was walking the dog one day and came back up. She was crying and screaming. I was asleep in the bed. Said that the man came out to the edge of the road with a shotgun and said, if your dog comes in my yard, I'll shoot it, and if you're in my yard, I'll shoot you too. Before I could get my pants on, Corey had already got his on and he went down there to talk to the guy. We were in New Orleans. My wife had set me up a few years back after I had been working really hard and a lot of work was going on. She said, you've always wanted to go to Mardi Gras, you need a break. I've already got you a hotel and a car, Corey's going to go with you, I've set it up. We were there in a bar one night dancing with some people, and a guy came up behind me. Evidently, we found out afterwards he'd been talking to the girl all night that I was kind of talking to, and was going to crack me in the head with a bottle, and Corey grabbed him up before I got there, before he got to me. Corey's always that type of person. Always has been, and as I understand it from anybody that knows him, he's extremely faithful. If he doesn't like you, then anything's possible with him. Just don't
So
even deal with it.
would it be fair to say then, if you know he's like this, then up to the time she was killed, maybe you were throwing little things out there thinking, hoping that maybe he would, but really not sure that he would, but you were feeding stuff into his mind to
If
get
you
him to
listen to
do
him, he
it.
said he hoped he would.
I know, but I want to hear what he says
I
because,
hoped he would.
I mean, I still feel like you're holding back some.
No, sir, I'm not holding anything back at this point.
Well, at this
he
point,
was-
We know. I mean, we've
I know,
long
I've given
since
little bits
passed
and pieces the
that.
whole way.
And Corey's
That's
gonna
right.
know.
We've long since passed that point.
Oh, Corey's going to know that I told you everything.
But you know, right now, the way it is, you say, well, we talked about this, and then he came up and said, I followed her twice, which meant he was following through on the plan.
Right.
You're saying, well, I can't do this, I can't kill the guy. So,
Well, I said that long before this even happened.
Yeah.
And let me finish the point I was making a minute ago. When Corey came up about the money, because of the relationship we have and the kind of person that I believe Corey is about his loyalty, I believe that he truthfully thought that after he did this, if I got insurance money, that I would give it to him.
But y'all never discussed that.
No, sir, we never did. But
well, he had to know there was insurance.
Well, you don't even know, but everybody would assume in this case.
So again, I get back to Corey's, the criss-cross deal's off.
Right.
Corey's assuming there's insurance, and he's just assuming, well, I'm gonna risk everything and go in the middle of Sunday in the subdivision and kill this woman, assuming there's insurance, and I'm not sure there is.
See, the
And
middle of,
assuming he's gonna give me the money after I do it.
the middle of Sunday is the thing that trips me out about this whole thing too, that he'd do it in the middle of the day. But as I said before, he had told me that he's already gotten off on 2 murders. He was proud of it.
So that's because he was a desperate man and needed money, big time.
Well, see, I didn't
He had
know
to
that
be
he was a
thinking
desperate
big-
man and
big
needed
money
money
to
because
do
he
it.
showed me photographs where he'd won supposedly $100,000 in Las Vegas gambling,
Yeah.
which I know you've seen the photographs of.
Yeah.
I didn't know how he got it.
Yeah.
He was a man who was evidently working as an iron worker, he told me on the other coast, which I know iron workers that make $27 to $35 an hour. You know, he had some property he bought while he was there that he was renting. I didn't know what Corey's financial situation was. I just knew that he was willing to hang out all day with me and work and not make but a couple $100 a week just to hang out and be with me.
That's kind of weird, isn't it?
No, sir. Because I'd rather hang out with somebody and piddle around than I had not work, because when I don't work, I'm spending a ton of money. I mean, it's nothing for me to go to the movie theater and go shopping or anything like that, you know, when I had money.
See, we've got to the fact that you and Corey discussed the killing prior to it being done.
Yes, sir.
That he followed her, that you all met the same morning at the exact
Yes, sir.
location she was coming to, where we can track his cell phone right back to where he killed her.
Exactly.
And stole everything, so we know it happened from there.
And you know the van he was in.
And, but the only thing is, you think this man did this just out of loyalty, hoping to get some insurance that he didn't know whether it existed or not. And that's hard to believe here.
I understand that. I
A
understand
person
that.
would commit a terrible crime like this without knowing he was gonna get something out of it. He would risk everything.
Like I said, when Corey always needed us, Veronica and I both were always there. We were always there. When he needed a place to stay for 8 weeks or whatever it was, maybe even more, and then when they were redoing the house he lived in, yes, of course, come stay right with us. We fed him. He never paid rent, no utilities, no nothing. He stayed with us. He was part of the family.
So that makes it
Corey-
even harder for him to go kill Veronica, I would think.
Well, he'd
Run
been
her
gone
down and shoot
forever.
her in the head.
He'd been gone forever.
Mm.
But the fact of the matter is, I honestly believe that's what he thought. And I'll go one step further and just say, I believe I could have given it to him if everything had gone on and nobody ever said anything or got caught.
When did it come up about you guys going to Barbados? He's been talking about you.
After, as soon as I got back
You're
from
going-
Barbados with the girl I was dating, Tracy.
After the murder, he's saying that you all had plans to get out of the country and go to Barbados.
He said all kinds of things on his Facebook and all that jazz. I've seen what he writes, and every day I ask him, I
This
can't believe
wasn't
you
on
wrote that
Facebook.
crap.
This wasn't on Facebook.
Well, I mean, that's
This
the whole
was
thing.
talking to people that you all are gonna get out of town, get away from the police and leave the country together.
No, not as far as I'm concerned, because I had already picked out plans for a house for my mother and Tracy and my son and I to live in. And this was before this even happened too. We picked out granite, we picked out cabinets. I wasn't going anywhere but right here. Now he was sold on the idea of Barbados when after I told him how great it was, and that I'd love to go back someday and open a dive shop, and that some guy had made me an offer to buy a dive shop when I was there, but I don't have $1 million to buy a dive shop with. And I sure don't have the credit to borrow $1 million.
And you still say you didn't know how much life insurance was on her?
As I said before, the last pieces of paperwork that we got between us, one piece of it stated point blank that we weren't going to name each other beneficiary, which is perfectly fine with me. The original stuff said that we had to keep a minimum of $350,000, which at that point, even in the beginning, we said we would do. We would do
10% of that would be $35,000, which is what he asked.
Well, yes, sir, I guess so.
That's kind of wrong. You understand?
Well, I mean,
If it was 350
places more.
Yeah, but if it were 350, he's saying.
Yeah, I figure.
But I can understand what you're saying, but
Well, you were gonna get the insurance money. If you all got away with it, there's no question about it, you got the insurance. You, not your son, because the divorce wasn't done.
man,
That stuff had never been signed. That's why
well, again, that
there's
stuff,
such a motive.
I understand
Otherwise,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's no doubt, and I've wasted enough of everybody's time here. And I've wasted enough of Michael's time through this whole thing so far. And that's why out there I said, look, I know that you guys were asking and saying things. Crumby and them just said all kinds of things to me that I knew were wrong. I knew they were.
Well, they weren't lies, they actually have witnesses that
Well,
told them that.
okay,
Now,
but
they may be
I'm talking
wrong.
about other things
I
too,
think
though.
that's it, but, you
But
know,
I'm talking about a number of other
Yeah.
things in general. I don't know that they ever lied to me. A couple of times it felt like it, but it's okay. We're to the point now to where all this is going to happen. It's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it to bankrupt my family over. And my family would do that. They would bankrupt themselves to try and get me out of here. And my point is I know I'm never going to hold my son again.
well, hopefully your son will still have a relationship with you. Maybe he'll understand.
I wouldn't.
He's with your sister.
I know. Thank God. I wouldn't know what.
And we've offered to get him free counseling.
He was going to counseling already, even from the separation before. He's been going to, and I talked to a therapist that Brian and I went to before, and he gotten some names that forever and a day back that I know are still available.
School's taken care of. I mean, believe it or not, first 2 or 3 days.
The church
And
stepped
I
up.
know he says he's lied to me. I know when people are lying to me because I check them out. He's me. I'll get that.
No, the church said point blank they would let him stay
Yeah,
a year without
probably.
any hassles.
We had that Sunday, the kid taken care of. He disclaimed any interest in that, from the jump. So, I don't know if it's, in paperwork, I don't do that. I referred him, I don't know who's doing the estate and whatever, I don't represent him. He just told me to put him, so Scott Parsley is representing him, and I told him he doesn't, I represent him.
Who did that?
So,
That was yesterday. I was in juvenile court yesterday, having
That's-
the rights of my son turned over to my sister and brother-in-law.
but that was done by the board. Was that, or whenever, within the day.
Believe it or not,
All year round.
that was harder yesterday than this is today. To give someone else my son at high cost.
What about the East Nashville house? What about the arson?
I have nothing to do with that. No idea what happened there. It was the second time it had been done. There was no insurance at all on it the second time, and the first time the insurance only covered what the loan amount was that we had borrowed.
I thought you got 10,000 extra.
No, sir, we got, well, whatever, there was some property inside, that's what we got, and literally there was some stuff there, cabinets, materials that we were using to still renovate it, we weren't completed. That's it. The second fire, my friend called me that morning at my mom's in the bed, I guess it was on the 2nd or whatever, at like 6:30. And told me, man, turn the news on, your house is on fire again. First thing I said was April Fool's Day was yesterday, you stupid ass, what are you calling about? And that was it.
Who called it? Do you remember?
Called me.
Was he?
A good friend of mine, those townhouses on Lishie, which are close to over there right at McFerrin Park, we redid a bunch of those. He bought 3 or 4 and I bought 4 or 5, Veronica and I had, and we were redoing that whole little area over there. And that's how I met him, from him doing those. But as far as all the arson
So
goes,
you
I
don't
have no clue.
You don't think Corey might have burned those down?
No, sir. As far as I understand, Corey wasn't even here in April yet. Corey had only been back in, according to him, when he saw me at the courthouse, he'd only been in town a few days trying to, and that's what he said. My mom, literally, when I got home, he said, ask your mom if somebody called today looking for you. When I asked her, she said, yeah, somebody did, but they didn't leave a name. I said, it's because I ran into him at the courthouse today.
See, that's what's hard to believe. You just run this guy in May, and all of a sudden you're all so tight that he's just about to kill your wife.
We have always been tight, though. We've known Corey. I've known Corey, and Veronica had known him probably 13 or 14 of the years of our marriage. I mean, that was the second job I think Veronica ever had, and that's when she met him. The first one, she worked at a Hallmark store in Rivergate.
Well, he had to know there was insurance to come ask for $35,000.
Well, by that time, I had already made the contact to find out if there was any kind of insurance.
So
But
you
I don't
told him
know.
there was?
No, sir. I don't believe I even told him there was. But again, I'm going back, and I'm saying this, and it may be the hardest thing to believe, but I honestly believe that he felt that if everything went fine and we got off, that I would give it to him. I mean, like you said, he's a smart fella even though he got caught. I don't know that he would ever expect somebody to come up and just say, here's $35,000 and expect me to be able to hide it.
Right.
How are you going to do that? Especially, you can't hide that kind of money. I mean, especially if there's an investigation. I get the life insurance even. How do I say, here's $35,000? I believe he honestly thought that he would have been able to get it when things calmed down, and if we were found not guilty or not tracked down, I honestly believe that he would have. And like I
You wouldn't have
said,
given it to him?
Just, I mean.
Part of me, as angry as I was inside at everything she'd done to me. If we had gotten off, I might have.
If you weren't gonna turn him in the beginning, I think you would have.
And I'm not denying that, sitting back thinking and looking on all that. Like I said, that time following when it actually happened, everything was so confusing. I was a turmoil within myself as to what to do. And all I could think about, and all I think about is while I'm here, is what is best. I'm sorry. I'm to the point now where I'm going, do I want my family to bankrupt their thing? But my son is the only thing that has ever, once he was born, Veronica and I were having troubles already. I knew the marriage was over. In January, before I even caught her, when we bought the new house, I said, look, we're not in love, right? I had an email that I sent to her. We're not in love. Why don't we just go our separate ways, be done with it, and learn to live life? No, we're still in love. She's dating the other guy the whole time I found out. After all that had built up, and it had never ended probably from the very first one, I couldn't believe anything she ever said to me. Yes. I believe if everything would have went well and she was out of my life and I had what I truthfully wanted was just me and my son. And then after that, in time, I would have married this other girl. I wanted to go that route, but we could never get there. Yes, I probably would have.
Tell me about when Corey told you that he followed her on 2 different occasions. How long was that prior to the murder?
I don't know, to be honest. Just a few days, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I truthfully believe Sunday when we met. I believed that he was going to follow her again.
Okay.
I don't know that
you knew why he was following her. He wasn't just following her to be following her.
I didn't, to be honest. At that point, he'd already said twice I'd done it.
I followed her.
Yes, sir.
I know her routine. I'm like a big hit man. I know,
Well,
you know, that's the way they work. They want to be very specific and
I don't know. Again, to be honest, I didn't know if he would do it or not. I didn't.
Did you ask him why he was in this van instead of his Escalade?
No, sir.
But you said earlier you hoped you would do it.
Well, I mean,
Is that what you said? I mean, it sounds like he's
Oh, I-
driving a different car. I mean,
Right.
it's an indication.
I
so,
didn't think about it and all that stuff. I mean, I honestly, when he came there, I knew.
Well, when he said
I've said it. I know where he was going.
I mean, when he says, I followed Veronica twice, and you didn't say, what in the hell are you following Veronica for? You knew what he was following for, right?
Yes, sir.
You say, why are you still following her?
No, sir.
Why didn't you kill her?
No, sir. But I
What
know
did you
that
say?
bits and pieces. Nothing. I really didn't say anything.
So he says, I've been following Veronica twice, and you didn't say that.
Well, it wasn't exactly that way. It was, I mean, the conversation bits and pieces were scattered across all kinds of things. But I knew inside where he was going. And like I said, that part of me wanted it to happen
And that
as much as the other part
he
didn't
shows
want it.
up right where you're going to pick your child up on a Sunday in a van that isn't his. You knew what he was going to do, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I just said that.
Okay.
I mean, that part of me wanted it to happen so that I
And
could
you-
be alone with my son, and even though the other part didn't,
I understand your motive.
that part of wanting to be alone is the part that overcame and
Wanted your
overwhelmed.
son.
Absolutely. Nothing mattered but him. And now I've thrown it away too, being stupid.
Like I said, you know, you're being truthful helps any consideration you can get, but one of the big things is consideration is testimony.
Yes, sir.
So that's why it's so important, this is being taped, that you're telling us the truth today. Because Corey's going to know the truth,
Well, yes, sir. I agree with that.
and he's going to come.
That's why I'm trying to tell you everything there is that I can tell you now.
That's why it's
Yes, sir.
important, anything else. I mean, it's still.
He knows he's admitted to the crime. He said he's already pled guilty. I mean,
I understand it.
I don't.
It's
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get together Corey's thought process.
At this point, I'm not sure what Corey was saying. Like I said earlier, I
Obviously, he
believe.
came and wanted $35,000 from the insurance
Yes.
money. So he obviously had in his mind at the time he was going to get money from the insurance.
And like I said, we've always been close enough and tight enough.
Yeah. But
Then
you're
I
saying
probably
there was
would have
no-
gave it to him and it wouldn't be outside the realm of
You're saying there was
him.
no discussion about, let's go to Barbados afterward, we're going to get so much money, we're going to do this?
No, sir. No, sir. I'd always told him that I would like to go back there.
Because I mean, like I say, Corey's not stupid. I don't see him committing this type of horrendous crime knowing the heat's going to come unless he thought he's going to get a big payday. He's all about money. I mean, you know that.
Right. Unfortunately, there wasn't a discussion until after the fact.
And with whatever he's done in the past, whether he's done it or not, he made you believe he's done it. This time,
He didn't even make me believe that until afterwards, is when
but
he told me the
nonetheless,
story.
he's caught this time.
Right.
And
No ifs, ands, or buts.
you don't know, when he sits in that chair right there, that he may detail things more than what you seem to be detailing them. And
I have laid everything out there that I could. We met. I told him where we were going to be. I knew what he was doing. I mean, he was there.
But I'm talking about
Absolutely.
specific conversations about.
There was no
planning it
conversations
out,
about money.
And if it wasn't, it wasn't. But I'm saying you don't know what he's going to sit there and say. Because if it was, and he realizes he's done, there ain't nothing he can do, because he's the one that actually pulled the trigger, then
Right.
he may come up with some things that may be truthful, that is going to make you look like you still sat in here and tried to sugarcoat it for yourself the whole time.
Well, he'd already followed her before. I know that for a fact because he told me where he was with her, which
But
I
you
verified
never-
where she was.
But you've never given us or said anything. You're just like it's just these sporadic conversations. And, you know, we talked about the criss-cross, okay, don't do that. And all of a sudden he's following her. I mean, I just have trouble believing you didn't have more in-depth conversations about what was going on. I just don't
And he
see
shows
it.
up, you call him several times that morning, y'all are calling, he shows up right where the location is, where we know from his cell phone. He follows her from there, she's dead, he calls you up and says, it's done. And you said, I had a hard time believing it. Well, it was pretty obvious.
Well, it's
I mean, you may have had a hard time
that
grasping.
shock of grasping all of it,
grasping it.
what I had done. I agree with that, openly.
Yeah, okay.
Openly. I'm not denying any of that. And it's been repeated enough times, I think, right
But
now, that we're on
it
agreement
has,
on that
but
point,
not
but I just
having-
don't.
An exact conversation about what he was doing or what he was going to do or how he was going to do it. I don't believe that didn't take place. I don't see how
I didn't know.
he could
again,
decide he was going to do this just in this sporadic stuff.
when we talked even earlier, I don't want to know anything. Even the very beginning, before I said, like, I can't
So
really
you're
tell
saying,
anybody.
I want you to kill her, but I don't want to know how you do it or when you do it or why you do it. I just want her dead.
Similar, yes, sir. I mean, when we talked about the crisscross
Tell
thing,
me
that's what I
exactly
said.
what you said, if you
Well,
remember.
we're talking about the crisscross, that's what we talked about. I said, I don't want to know nothing about it. I don't want to know if you do it, I don't want to know nothing. I'll know the call the moment they come looking for me.
But then you said
That
you
way,
told
again,
him-
I don't have, and like I said earlier, if I don't know something, I can't actually lie about it.
But then you said you blew that off. We're not.
Right.
We can't do it. We're not doing the
I agree.
crisscross. So then there has to be a point in time where something is decided to where he's going to go ahead and do this.
Well, he did tell he was going, I mean, he had followed her. He had told me he had followed her.
But something.
But I just, again, I didn't want to know anything. Yes, sir.
This is the psychological heart of the confession. The speaker explicitly admits to cultivating willful ignorance. He wants to preserve a thin layer of plausible deniability. In his mind, if he doesn't know the method or timing, he can later claim he never truly agreed to murder. This is a textbook example of hedging, a self-deception strategy used by accomplices everywhere. But the detective immediately sees through it. The psychological term here is moral licensing. He allows himself to participate in evil by consciously limiting his own knowledge, as if ignorance wipes away intent.
That if he was going to do it, it would have ever been any time at all except for when it was with me. Absolutely not. He'd never put my son in jeopardy.
But with all that being said, if you're saying the crisscross was off, what specifically was said between you and him for him to go ahead and do what he did?
Nothing that I can recall. And I mean
that's
that.
what I don't-
Nothing. Now, he may say anything. Nothing else was really discussed afterwards. Nothing.
So just
Because the basis of it is exactly that.
Well, you said just a week
I
before
don't
she
want
was
to
killed, he said
know.
he followed her twice
Right.
and he's gonna kill her.
But the fact was that if it happens, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And he knows me well enough, I guarantee, like I said.
But there was
If we
an
had gotten
agreement
off,
to kill her, and you said, I don't want to know anything else.
Yes.
The less I know, the better.
that's exactly what I said. If I don't know it, I can't lie about it.
So, okay, so there's an agreement for him to kill her, and the only issue is, what was he gonna get out of it?
And like I said, he's been around long enough to know me as a person. I'll sit here and like I said already, that if we had gotten off, I'm going to say 90% chance I would have probably given him the money.
And he had to know she made quite a bit of money. She was very successful.
Oh, yes, sir. She was very
Had
successful.
a house, had a car,
Yes, sir.
and he had to know you had insurance.
Again, we didn't discuss it, but common sense would say.
Well,
But I didn't even know at the point whether we
We obviously
truthfully
came
had.
to you and said, give me $35,000 out of the insurance money.
Well, at that point, of course, I mean, he had said something. I said, well, I haven't talked to him yet, but I know there's a policy now because the detectives had already told me there was a policy. But I didn't know that at that point. Honestly.
It was in your
No, sir.
paperwork.
No, sir. There was a paperwork that said that we weren't going to have a policy naming each other's beneficiary.
No, but it said you would keep an insurance policy of up to $350,000.
Which is exactly-
So you knew there was an insurance policy.
No, sir. There were two conflicting pieces. And that was the last question that I asked my attorney to pose to. Do we have to or do we not? Because I don't know. I'd rather give my money to someone else.
Well, I understand that, but you knew there was insurance.
I didn't know if she would. My whole thing is
You
this.
said there was
exactly.
insurance from the jump, I mean,
Well,
policies.
there
You
was at
obviously
one
didn't know
time.
the amount.
But it's just like they said. I had missed mine at one time and had to play catch up. I didn't know what her finances were. I know for a long time
You knew
that she had told me
You knew she had a minimum of $350,000 because it's court ordered. Right?
that doesn't mean she kept it up though.
But
Because I missed my payment because I couldn't afford to pay it that month.
But you knew she was supposed to have $350,000 minimum.
Right.
Right.
Until the fact of the paperwork that came in and said
But it was
that we
actually,
may not.
It was actually, well, no. It,
And that's the only
it
part
said
that I'm
you had
saying.
to keep it. It just said you could change the beneficiary after
Right.
you're divorced. You
Which
didn't
meant
have to-
that I might not get anything, of course. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I didn't know whether there was policy. I didn't
Once
know whether
you-
she
once
kept
you're
it up or not.
divorced.
Her finances, I had nothing to know with. I had no idea.
But that's why he kills her before the divorce is final, because you're gonna change beneficiaries for sure at that point.
Of course, you'd still get the money because you would have got it.
Yeah, but he wouldn't know that.
But how does he come up with $35,000 if this paperwork says minimum $350,000? So you had to know there's a minimum $350,000.
To be honest, sir, I have no
You-
idea.
you
He
didn't-
made us come up with a
You
number. He
didn't tell
needed to
him
get wherever he was wanting to
$350,000,
go.
knowing it was $550,000, and just gonna give him 10%.
No, sir. We never talked about this.
Because 35,000 is kind of strange from the paperwork. The divorce is 350,000. You know,
I mean, I agree with that, but there's...
you see what we're getting at?
Yes, sir. And I understood your point the whole time.
I mean,
And that's why I'm
you're
trying
not
to do what I'm doing now.
You're not gonna get in any more trouble.
No, sir, there is, I mean, there isn't anything. I can't, I confess to doing it. I can't get any more trouble.
I know, that's what I'm saying, that's why.
But I'm telling you right now, there isn't anything. And yes, when he came to me, if we would've got it off in time down the road, I probably would have. I'd have figured out somehow that I could have siphoned it off. As he worked with me, maybe we'd have bought a house together.
You
or
told me
something.
about the dream of going to Barbados, or was that discussed out there? The dream of the sale shop and all that stuff.
Oh, we talked about this a second ago. But I mean, I don't know. I couldn't give, I mean, I'm smart enough to know I can't give you $35,000. It's gonna come up. It's gonna be visible.
Yeah.
I couldn't give you literally $10,000 because you don't. What have you done for me to give you $10,000 that I could show that you did something? That's why there was never any talk of any of this stuff. None. That's why I can honestly sit here and say when he came to me after the fact
So
was
you're
done.
saying he just killed her out of loyalty to you and hopefully to get a big
I don't know about
payday?
loyalty to me. I don't even know if that's the right word. But I think he felt, and like I said, I probably would have done it. When everything had calmed down and cooled down, I probably would have paid him money. And it sounds terrible, and I know, but all I wanted was to get my son and be able to be with him.
And you all didn't have any kind of sexual thing going on between
I'm sorry, who? Veronica and I?
you? No.
Corey and I? Me and Corey.
Yeah. There's some strange stuff on your computer, by the way, that they found, bisexual.
Yes, sir. I've seen all that stuff.
So,
But no, sir.
That's why I'm asking.
No, sir. Not the least bit. But thanks for bringing that up.
Well, it's gonna come
It'll
out.
come out,
So,
That's fine, but no, sir.
So that's something we have to ask, that's something. that
That's
we-
fine. No, sir.
Uh,
Never been with another man.
Well, there's some weird stuff on there that indicates otherwise, but I hadn't reviewed all, it's not really that important to me, other than
Right.
what your relationship is with Corey. Of course, Corey's defense team will probably see all that stuff.
That's fine. They can see anything they want to.
So,
Is there anything at all that you can tell us now?
I have tried to think of everything through the course of this day. I have tried to come and think of everything. Even when I sat here, when you were saying a couple of things that I knew couldn't be true, they weren't even close to being true. The whole time I'm sitting here going, okay, maybe they don't have this whole thing. Maybe something will happen. I can hold my son again. But at the end of the matter, the truth of the matter is I can't hold my son. And to go one step beyond that is my son doesn't truthfully deserve me to hold him because of what I took away from him. And in talking to Michael, there's no need in keeping it going on anymore. Yes, I wanted it to happen. Part of me did, part of me didn't. But the biggest part did so that I could be alone with my son without the interference and the constant trying to take from me for what I was trying to get and gain. I wanted to move on to this other piece of life, like she was able to do.
That's understandable. Just,
But it's not still. I love my son. How could I have done that to him?
I don't think you matter argue the fact that you don't love your son, but you've just done something the wrong way. And you'll have to pay for it.
I am. I'll pay for it when I die too. So everything that I can actually think of and remember at this point in time, I told.
okay.
If anything can come to mind, because I promise you I think about it all the time, I'll be glad to tell you. But I've wasted his time, your time, my whole family's time, never leaving me.
Well, it's gonna be tough for them.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be really tough. But
Absolutely.
I think you coming forward and telling the truth instead of dragging it out and then seeing it and putting them through a lot of bad times and stressing them even more than they're already stressed.
Right.
Is the right thing for you. You did a terrible, wrong thing, but you're trying to do a right thing now to protect some people that you love, which is basically what you got left.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
It's going to sound like a favor. When this stuff is settled before it gets even worse, which is going to get worse, is there any way I can sit with my family, detectives with me, handcuffs, whatever, as a family with my son, and be able to tell them the truth without it being here?
Well, being here,
Without it being here, I mean, is there like at the office? Is there,
no, as far as getting.
or even here maybe, but I mean not down there in that little room where they're in a cubicle looking through a piece of glass.
I understand that. We could probably set that up here. If you'd like, be a nice.
You get Father Broom. You get Father Broom.
No, I lost respect for that man. Even
Well, I
no
mean,
matter what I did,
just said it.
when he allowed that
Right.
funeral to go the way it went, when he allowed them to turn it into that fiasco they turned it into, no matter what I had done, it was terrible.
There's a conference room here, in fact, it's a little bit nicer than this kind of area. And I think we could set that up for you.
I would appreciate that. I really would.
I mean, I think some of your family came in today and met with the detectives. I guess
They were going to, but I don't know if they did or not.
Yeah, I think they did, so I don't know exactly what I wasn't present, so.
Well, they told them a lot of other things that weren't true. And that's the lies that I know they told, and that's what hurt so bad.
Okay, well, I don't know about that, but I think we can work with you. But obviously, anytime we have contact with you, Mike has to be here. So, you know.
I know it sounds like a terrible thing,
You're
but
gonna
I
write
would
him
appreciate
tomorrow,
that.
right?
No. No, I mean, you know, we'll,
Are you gonna ask
Oh,
him to pass it?
yeah, obviously, I don't think, you know,
How long would this last, this trial, before he goes to trial? And I'm going to ask another question after you answer that I know the answer to already, but
It's gonna depend on, you know, obviously, if we work out a plea, it goes much quicker.
right.
But obviously, in this situation, we would probably want you to testify, so we wouldn't work out a plea till after your testimony.
I told him, you know, they get robbery, of course, probably career, you know, instead, so who cares?
You get all this time that you're incarcerated counts.
Well, that's not the question I'm going after.
Yeah, the only thing.
You know where I'm going,
if we
I
go to-
imagine already.
If we go to trial with Corey, it could be a year and a half if we go for the death penalty, because it's very lengthy, they give him a lot of time, a lot of money, that kind of stuff. Now, if Corey comes in and sees a handwriting on the wall and maybe says, I'll take a life without parole, it could be over fairly quickly. You know him a lot better than I do. You think he'll play his hand
I
all the
think
way
he's
to
going
the
to
end?
do the way I did right now, probably. I think he'll roll. And he'll start to say all kinds of stuff to turn it back on me, I'm sure of now. But he's going to hold firm until you give him something solid. And if you come up with any of the stuff I gave you, he's going to know that I told you.
Yeah.
He's going to start to talk.
Yeah.
Now, what'll come out, like you said, what'll come out of his mouth,
No, I mean, yeah.
I guarantee it'll be different than mine. There's no doubt about
He's
that.
a habitual liar, there's no question about that. We'll just have to see what happens there. That's why I tell you, you're the first one here. you've come forward and explained your involvement in a terrible crime and how you got involved in it, which doesn't condone it at all.
Well, no, sir,
But it's somewhat,
I don't, and I'll suffer for it, I know. But my question, which I already know the answer to, it sounds like a stupid question, but there were things that I was doing. It would mean so much to go to finish. Like my friends, their house. I had a day's worth of work to finish their house. I don't know if I could just spend any time with my son. I know Belle's out of the question, of course. But if I gave everything, could we set something so I could have just a little time with him?
well, like I say, we can set something up in a conference.
No, I mean on the outside.
There's no court that can approve that in this situation. I mean,
And there's no
obviously-
chance of any kind of bail, even though I've told you everything and I'm not going anywhere. And
Well, obviously you're entitled to a bail if we decide we're not seeking the death penalty. We
Yeah,
can
he's
walk
not
away.
there, but he knows.
I mean, like, could I wear an ankle bracelet or
It's gonna be
something
$1
for
million.
anything?
It would bankrupt your family much, or at least it would put them in severe financial trouble. Bail's not really
Right.
much of an alternative in this type of case. I mean, now we can work with you as best we can to let you see your family in a situation that's not
Right.
through the glass of jail.
I knew the answer already, but it was worth asking just in case.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of situation, if there was a bail, it would be extremely high.
And that's what I don't want my family to do. I don't want them to do it at all. It's not worth it. I'm not worth it.
Well, it's nice to man up and see people. I've seen people like the Wooded Rapist destroyed his family financially, going to trial and doing all kinds of stuff. So,
And they would do it.
I know they would.
Absolutely.
So if
And I believe even if I hadn't talked, there's still a chance, but it's just not worth it anymore.
You committed this crime over family, and now you're standing up and trying to at least not totally destroy your family, which is something to be said with that, and that's something you can take with you. I think that's something your family will, I think, come to realize what you did for them, but you could have fought this to the end 2 years down the road and bankrupted them, embarrassed them and everything else.
That's what I'm afraid of now. It comes out that I even agreed and said I was guilty. What it's going to do to them, it's all over the news and the papers again.
Well,
Bringing me in is one thing.
it's not gonna be on the news, we're not gonna go out and, eventually there'll be discovery and stuff like that, but, this tape doesn't have to be filed with the clerk until this case is resolved, or until there's a trial. Nobody should ever see this. It won't be on the news tonight, we're not gonna release anything, so. They're gonna be going to talk to Cotham and get him tomorrow in Kentucky, so they're gonna be pretty busy, but I'd say, maybe Thursday, we could set something up with your family. If that, whatever Mike's schedule is, what you're looking at.
If we do it in the afternoon, which I think would probably be best for their schedule, what do you think, Tim? I know after school. I don't know what Shane's schedule is.
And, if you wanna have your son brought up here, you can do it, or we can bring them at one time and let you meet with your son.
I'll talk to them. They gotta make all that calls anyway, so.
I don't know if I can even tell them. I should. I don't know if I can.
Well, the 48 hours will give you a little time to get more composed, I think, and think about what you need to say.
And I don't want him to see me this way. I can't even talk to him on the phone hardly. Because he's so
We
upset
maybe
and
do something about
cries.
the clothes, just give them the kids time.
Yeah. I mean, we can obviously, I think, take the handcuffs off as long as we've got you. And there's going to obviously have to be a police
Right.
officer.
Again, this stuff I understand. I mean, I'm not.
Like I said,
Whatever.
at that age,
Whatever you could do to help
I
me.
mean, they know.
I know I'm out here asking for stuff that I don't deserve, but
Well, I mean, they can, it'd probably be crummy to them, they have
I
their.
don't care.
Have guns covered, and it's not like they're gonna be parading around, whatever, I mean, we can work with you, that's.
They saw the guns when they got me out of the truck. All I could say the whole time they were coming in was, "It's okay, buddy. It's okay." I told them they were going to come get me one day. They said they'd follow me all day. I was alone all day long. They could pick me up at any time. Why did they wait for my son?
because we were actually doing some things on him in Kentucky that we had to wait. We wanted to arrest both of them at the same time. It wasn't timing of your son, it was waiting on things to happen with him in Kentucky.
So they followed me all day long.
They've been calling him for several days.
Tom doesn't agree with the guns and stuff, so, I mean,
Well,
you know.
you gotta do what you gotta do, though. There
Right.
could be a guy that's gonna run out with a gun and
Tom
start
said
shooting people
before,
too, that's
but,
right.
You know, nobody wants that to happen. But I don't think Tom would say to you that he told him to make sure the kid was in the car. That's just not.
They
No.
really don't wanna do that with.
Well, the marshal point blank, I mean, the marshals were really good. Everybody that I spoke to was really good about it. It just freaked him out a little when he saw the gun coming up behind him, pointed at the window.
I see, and this guy hollering, call Tim. And we didn't know she was gonna call you, what she was gonna tell you, what you might, you know, so that was why the takedown was almost, once that happened, bam, it had to go, and that's what the marshals.
Well, I saw him. That's when I pulled off the road with my blinker and put into a big parking lot to make sure there was room for everybody involved.
They have to protect themselves too. So.
I don't, they were good. They were good to him. They calmed him down really quick. And he came back and talked to me and told me what they'd done. No, I don't, they were good to me. It could have went a whole lot worse. They were good to me.
All right, the only thing, well, I'll check with Mike, and we'll check about doing it on Thursday. He can check with the family and see if that works for them.
I'm sorry I wasted this time. I just didn't know what to do.
Well, you know, it's not easy when you're in a mess like this, obviously, to make a decision. It's going to affect you the rest of your life and family. But you made the right decision in the long run, not to put them through more than they're already going to be put through. Hopefully your son will come through this okay. But, you know.
Kids are pretty resilient.
Thing is I'll never see him again. By the time I get out, I'll be dead. They'll be dead. My son will be the only one.
Your son loves you.
But there's no doubt.
And time can heal.
Anyway, I did it though. That's what matters. I did it, so I get what I deserve.
Yeah, give us just a second before we take you back down. Just give it just a second.
I'm sorry, Mike.
That's all right. It's an incredible years.
Do what?
Incredible years.
I'm sorry, Michael, made to put you in this position, brother.
Very recorded this. That's
He apologizes to the detective, not for the murder, but for crying. This is a classic emotional shutdown followed by a sudden flood of affect. He says he hasn't cried in years, which suggests a lifetime of emotional suppression, likely linked to toxic masculinity or trauma. The apology is telling. He feels shame not for what he did, but for showing weakness in front of another man. He calls the detective brother, a desperate grab for connection at the moment of psychological collapse. This is not remorse for the victim. It is self-pity dressed up as vulnerability.
Mr. Bozza, we're back here. It's November the 2nd, I think. Basically, we're just here to kind of follow up a little bit on the statement you gave us a few weeks ago about your wife's murder. I know that was an emotional time back then, and you were recalling some things, so we just kind of wanted to follow up and maybe talk about a few more details if you recall any of those. Just in summary, and if I say something wrong, you can correct me, but based on the last statement, you said that you first discussed the killing of your wife, Mr. Cotham, and you discussed what you call a criss-cross killing, where he would kill your wife and then you would kill, I think, his husband. That was the first discussion you had. And then you said at some point, I can't do that. So that agreement was dropped, I guess, at that time. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I mean, it was almost an immediate thing.
Okay.
I mean, it was more of a kind of a jest than anything, but
So then, after that, obviously that ended that type of discussion, so there must have been some other discussion. At that time, you started following your wife. You knew that. told you he'd been
Yes, sir,
followed.
he told me later that he followed her.
And then I think you told us on the day that Veronica was killed, that you met him prior to her death, where the child was being dropped off at a store close by, is that right?
Yeah, down the street there towards the interstate.
And you knew at that time he was following Veronica?
At that time, I didn't know, no, sir. But we had met that morning in the area to where we were gonna be meeting.
Okay. But
So I
you
don't know that
told-
he'd been following her that morning at all.
Okay, but you knew you were meeting with him for the purpose of him following her, right?
No, sir, he called and said he was in the area.
Okay.
But I'm assuming past that point, since this happened, that yes, sir, he was there intentionally to follow her. at that
Did he
point.
know where you picked up your child?
Oh, yes, sir.
And he knew when you picked the child up?
Oh, yes, sir, because it's been the same routine since he and I've been hanging out.
And then, after he killed Veronica, he called you and said it's done.
Yes, sir, he did.
And then after that, he came to your house sometime later and requested $35,000 in payment.
Yes, sir, he did.
And obviously you had paperwork from your lawyer about the final divorce agreement, if you were to agree with that, and that had the $350,000 insurance that each of you were supposed to keep on yourself or on.
Yes, sir, that's what we had agreed upon as a minimum.
Did he ever review that with you before you?
No, sir, no, sir, he'd never seen any of the papers, anything like that. Never even talked about it.
But even though he knew that he asked for $35,000, which would have been 10% of the $350,000 that was reflected in the divorce papers.
It would have been, yes, sir.
And that was just a coincidence. That he
Absolutely.
had no way to know that there was a minimum of $350,000.
No, sir, he had no way to know.
You all had never talked.
No, sir. In fact, you were talking about monies and things, and we talked before, and I said there'd never been a mention. There was a mention at one time. When I made this there's reference to this movie, this criss-cross, this Throw Momma from the train movie, because he'd been complaining, and I just was saying it. After I told him, look, man, I was just kidding, man. When he started talking seriously about it, I said, look, I can't do that. I couldn't kill anybody. He openly at that time offered me $10,000 if I could go ahead and do it, and I just said point blank, I couldn't do it. Other than that, that's the only time that any kind of monies that I can recall was ever mentioned. And that was from him to me to do it after I said I couldn't do anything.
That's the problem we're having with this, is just that he would go off on his own and start following Veronica, carry through and kill Veronica, show up right where you're dropping your child off on the day she's murdered, follow her back, kill her, then call you and tell you it's done, without there being a plan for him to say it's done. That's what we're having trouble with. And if if there's more of an agreement, I mean, I understand the criss-cross thing fell through, then the next thing would go that he offered you money, that you would offer him money, or he would assume you would give him money somehow if he carries this out. I mean, that's what we're getting at, that there must have been a little bit more of a plan than what you're loosely telling us. And that's not, that's just common sense to us. He didn't just do this more or less giving you, well, maybe I'm following her, I'm going to take care of this as a friend, and then demand $35,000. I mean, where do you think you were going to get $35,000?
Maybe from the house that I have, I don't know. Again, finance is not something I discuss with people. Is that what I had? Maybe he thought I had it because I had a couple of houses and a piece of land.
But the problem we're having is that he would carry out this murder without having some kind of guarantee that he was going to get something out of it. He's just not going to do it on speculation that you would think, well, you're a good guy, here's you some money. You said you would have paid him the money if you'd gotten it from the insurance. You would have paid him for doing it. So that's just a question. He had to have some, in our perspective, he had to have some theory on how he was going to get this money or why he was doing this. Because he was emailing prior to the murder. He was going to hit the big deal. He was going to Barbados for a few weeks and vacation and all that kind of stuff. And obviously he didn't have the money for that. So he was obviously planning, once this happened, he was going to get some money. And that's all we're trying to get at. So what was the basis for him believing you would give him $35,000? It just appears to me there would have to be. After the criss-cross deal fell through, there would have been more discussion then about, okay, I'll do it for money or whatever. I mean, it may have been his idea or whatever, I don't know. But we're just thinking there had to be more discussion instead of him just saying, well, I'm following your wife. You would say, well, what are you following for? You knew what he was following for.
To be honest, there was no more discussion, and I understand exactly what you're saying, and it still even to this day doesn't make sense to me the way it went. But there was no other mentions of any kind of monies at any time until that day at my mother's house that he asked me for $35,000 she could get out of town. He said, if I can get it, I'm going to go. I've got a guy in Atlanta who can get me a new identity, and I'm gone. And I told him right then there was nothing. There was nothing. And I know it doesn't make sense.
You never discussed any of his legal problem. I mean, y'all were tight. You were business partners, went out drinking together. And you were pretty tight. You never discussed, you obviously discussed your domestic problems with your wife, your divorce.
Unfortunately, I discussed those with a few people, yes, sir.
So you're saying you never discussed finances or anything like that about?
Well, we had some stuff going on, another little thing that we were trying to do with some, like, jersey type things, sports jerseys. But other than that, my finances were pretty much down to pat. I didn't get into a lot of it with him.
You know, the trouble that you're in,
Yes, sir. I understand the trouble I'm in.
it's not, that's not gonna make it any worse or any less, as far as the way things are going now.
I understand
And
that.
I still, it's just, I just can't see how he's just gonna do this without y'all having a conversation of some type after the criss-cross thing, for him to go ahead and do this without y'all having any discussion. I mean, it's almost absurd to even listen to that he's not, y'all have had no conversation. It's not gonna change anything.
I
It's not-
understand all that.
You're not gonna look any worse. As a
It
matter of
looked
fact,
worse. I've already said that.
as
Well, you
far as-
basically already admitted your participation in the
Yes,
murder.
sir.
You've already acknowledged you're guilty of first degree murder for planning your wife's, but you talked about it with the guy that did it. And you were there with him right before it happened. He calls you and tells you it's done. I mean,
I openly admit to understanding all that, sir.
understand
But
that. That's what we're trying to get at. It doesn't get any worse if you all talked about payment. Anything. This guy's a businessman kind of deal. I just don't think he's going to pull something off like he told us that he told you he'd done this before.
right.
So obviously there's some discussion about whether he was good at this or whether you could get away with it.
I don't recall any of that. I mean, he always thought he was the big stuff that he could always do, and he'd always talk, but no, sir, there wasn't discussion about the monies any time like that. The only time that I can recall that any kind of money was when he talked about he would give me 10 after I said, look, man, I was just messing with the criss-cross thing. I couldn't do that. You know I couldn't kill nobody. And that was it. That was it.
But he seems
Now-
to know a lot about everything. You never discussed about your divorce. Finally, let him look at the final order that was supposed to go down if you agreed to it and asked for his advice on that. There's
No, sir. Never
say-
showed him any of that stuff. And I told him we were about 3 weeks out on everything. We discussed that. I thought we were finally going to get it all signed. We were going to be done. He knew that I was talking to this young girl about getting married, that kind of stuff. He knew. All this other stuff, though, we didn't. I mean, I would honestly tell you, because I know where I'm at. And the more I can do, hopefully the better it would help me in whatever I've got. Because I know I'm stuck. And I admitted it, and I've made my peace in that, and that's what I pray for every night. That, you know, I'm trying to do what's right so I can be punished for what I've done.
Was he ever around your papers where he could have gone through them?
No, sir. They were at home all the time. No, sir. He'd
Yeah,
never
okay.
been into my room upstairs at all. Never.
That you know of? Was he ever at your house when you were?
Well, he was at my house, but never when I wasn't there. No, sir. And he was only at my house 3 times total that I know of at all. So, other than that, no, sir.
Do you have a lawyer on this divorce? Do you have a lawyer on this divorce?
Who?
Court, your court.
I don't know. I didn't know he'd gotten a divorce. I didn't know he'd ever gotten really married.
I think he and Laura were actually married at one time, maybe.
They had a child, but I didn't know they were
I think they were
married.
married. Well, he was married sometime. I know that for a fact. Or maybe he was married to somebody. Well, so the story goes she died. He was married a while back, a long time ago, when she died, evidently, or something. I think that's what the story went. I don't know that he was married to Laura. But anyway.
Then there were a bunch of calls made the day of the murder in there.
Yes, sir.
You said one about he called it and said it's done. What did he talk about after that?
I don't know that we talked
much the rest of the day. I mean, that's when I was trying to deal with my son and everything else that was going on and all that jazz. So, I don't recall that anything else was talked about. And then I think a couple of days later we met at work, just briefly. And at that point I just said, I don't even want to talk about it, I don't want to discuss it. It's kind of like I said the first time, after he said he'd done it and I was kind of stunned by it, I said, I don't want to know nothing about it at all. So I don't know what else I can give other than what I gave that day. I've been thinking about it, and I've told him just Monday of last week that I'm sitting in the bed running it through my head again, everything that we've done. I can't recall anything extra, really. And I know it doesn't make sense, but...
Do you think it's possible, you say you can't recall it, do you think it's possible there were some conversations that you subconsciously put out of your mind that you just have subconsciously made yourself feel about?
Anything's possible. But I mean, to sit down and actually talk about doing it, we didn't do that.
Now, whose van did he say it was when y'all met the day of the murder?
He said,
Okay, did you?
I've met her a couple of times. She'd come around some of the houses we were working on over off Alicia Avenue a couple of times.
Okay. You just knew her as one of his girls.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a conversation where he talks and tells her that he's discussed Jenny with you and that you all have decided that she's the weak link in all of this. Do you know what he was talking about?
No, sir. Never heard any of that. The only thing he's ever told me about, he talked to her and everyone in her house was going to hold the same story that he was given, that he was there supposedly and all that jazz, and everybody was on the same page with him and it was strong.
Did he tell you he got the gun from his house?
No, sir.
Car?
No, sir. The first thing I heard anything about the gun or the weapon was when you told me that her father had something stolen, supposedly.
Her husband?
Her husband. But it's the first time I heard anything about any of that. As far as I know, Corey's always halfway considered me to probably be the weak link because of my son.
When you saw before, did she have the same van that you saw him in when she was driving?
Yes, sir.
What kind was it you were talking?
To be honest, it looked kind of like the Aerostars. Short little snubby nose, kind of rounded off and squared. Maybe a silver kind of color or some kind of light champagne color like his maybe was. Older, looked aged. Other than that, I didn't really pay much attention to it except, you know.
And that call, when he called you the day the marshals came in and he called you on the phone, what did he say to you at that time?
I never spoke to him that day.
You didn't?
No, sir. You said that he was calling me or had told him to call me to try and warn me, but I never spoke to him. You'd asked me that last time who I was trying to speak to, and that's when I was saying I saw them behind me as I was pulling over. I was trying to call my sister to say, look, they're here. You should be getting a phone call or come up to the school is what I was going to try, but I didn't even get to get her. She didn't pick up.
Do you think anybody else knew about this plan other than you and him?
The way you're talking about it, all kinds of people may know in his part.
But you don't know anybody that he...
I don't know of anybody specifically he spoke to.
Is there anybody at all you ever spoke to specifically?
About this?
About
No.
before, during,
Many people
or
I
after?
talked to about how I felt about my wife on the days when she was being the biggest pain, which is kind of how this whole conversation got started too.
Did you say to him, I wish she was dead, or wish she'd die, or I'd like
Oh,
to kill her?
I said a couple of times I wish she'd get run over by a bus or a drunk driver would hit her, or she'd pick up and move to California.
So who was it that first suggested this criss-cross killing deal, like you said?
He was talking about his husband being such a pain. And in jest, I said, hey man, remember this movie? You know, that's what we should do, something like that.
And
And then-
he took that seriously.
Well, a couple of days later, he brought it back up. And that's kind of when I said, man, you know I couldn't do nothing, and that kind of stuff. And a few days after that, you know, she'd done something, or he'd said something to Laura again, or done something, and he said, that's when he said, look, I'll pay you $10,000 if you can do it. I said, Corey, you can't do that kind of stuff. You know I can't. And that was kind of the way that went. But I'm the one that brought it up.
But then he didn't follow up and say, how much will you give me to kill your wife?
No, sir. No,
I
sir.
mean, you're obviously talking about killing people. That's the thing, and the next thing you know, he's saying, well, I'm following Veronica around.
Well, he said, yeah, he said he had followed Veronica on 2 occasions already.
So he already had the plan in motion, just that.
I
You knew
guess
why
so.
he was following, right?
I'm sure he,
I mean, you knew she had a
I'm sure
boyfriend.
since she's dead, I'm sure exactly that he was doing it.
And the day, you told us the day you met him, you knew he was following her, he was planning to kill her.
Well, no, I didn't know that he was following that day, and that's what I said a second ago. When we met, I didn't know that he was following her, but as soon as she wound up dead, then I assumed the way you lied it, or assumed that it was that he did follow that day, and that's what happened exactly. When we met, I didn't know that he was following her that morning.
I thought I recalled you saying that when y'all met that morning, for whatever reason you met, that when you left, you knew he was gonna follow her.
I don't recall ever saying that. But I mean, I'm not doubting it by any means left or right. Absolutely, evidently he did follow her.
I mean, this is on a Sunday morning, right?
It's on a Sunday morning, yes, sir. And he said he was back on his way in from some date with some girls, and
You talking about it, he had 2 girls at one time
Yeah.
or something like that?
he met 2 girls from
He
Bowling
was
Green.
telling you about it, and
Yes, sir.
you were living vicariously through him.
Yes, sir. Exactly right.
But I'm almost positive that you said that you knew he was following her, that it was, this is the day.
I
Well,
don't
that's what he
recall
called
ever
you
saying
and
it, but I
say
mean,
it's done.
well,
Well,
I
I
agree. That, like I said the very first time, that still caught me off guard. And that's why I didn't believe it even afterwards. It just didn't make sense. And I understand and I want to give you what I can to help out, but I can't give you something that I don't recall ever really doing anything after that point or the other. It just, I don't recall it. And it could be, like you said, maybe. I'm not doubting that because there's a lot of stuff in my head right now that's bouncing everywhere that I'm trying to straighten out. But as far as it goes, honest to God, because I'm much calmer now than we were the last time, Grant. And I've been thinking about it. And I want to give everything I can to help because I know my situation. Anything I do helps me, I know that. Anything I can give you hopefully helps me somehow. I just can't recall it. I won't deny it, but I can't recall it.
Because obviously after the murder, you all were conspiring to cover it up and to keep your story straight and do things. You talked.
Oh, well, I only said that why I didn't come forward, and when you asked me to, is I felt I was trapped all of a sudden, didn't know exactly what to do.
Well, you were hopefully talking, you were talking a lot about it, weren't you? Y'all were talking about keeping your story straight.
No, not so much, no, sir. Just because I didn't want, like I said the first time, I didn't want to know anything. The less I knew about it, the less I would have
But you
to
said he did tell
worry about
you
it.
he chased her and shot her. Didn't you tell us that last time? He did give you some details. You said, I don't want to know anymore.
No,
He didn't give you any
She
details.
tried to run.
he said that, I think he said that she put up a fight. Other than that, I didn't hear much else. And that's what the detectives told me too. Evidently it looked like there'd been a struggle, and I agreed. So I know she would. Absolutely. But other than that, I didn't know much
And
else.
when was that conversation that he told you she'd put up a fight? Was that the same day?
No, sir. Because like I said, I don't think we talked at all that day again, hardly. He may have called, but I don't remember really talking much. It may have been a few days later when we met at work or picking up something at Home Depot or something as we were together that way. I don't recall the exact day. Again, I didn't really want to know.
So y'all continued to work together and you met at Home Depot for several hours.
Yeah. He didn't really work much with me after that point. He hung out to pick stuff up, but after that, he was always had somewhere to go. And I didn't really get much work done either, to be honest. I'd go, but I didn't get much done while I sat there.
Y'all had obviously discussed going to Barbados. You've been to Barbados.
Oh, I just gone a couple of months before.
I mean,
And he told him I was hoping to go back pretty quick. And there'd definitely be a place he'd like to go and visit.
Yeah, he's on the phone saying that you two were leaving the country and you're going to Barbados together shortly before you were arrested.
You told me that last time,
Is
too.
that true?
No, sir, we weren't going to Barbados to get away from anything. My family's all right here. No, sir.
I mean,
I told him he'd go back with us when we went. I'd love to go back sometime. And I said,
Well, he was
definitely be a
planning-
place you'd have to go, but
according to his text messages, he was planning to go in September and October.
and my trip for October was already planned and going. We were going to Panama City, my son and myself. So,
Well, obviously, he was planning different than you were.
well, in this case, it'd probably be better.
But
You know, it's just hard to think this guy would commit this murder and show up and want $35,000 without thinking there was a basis that you were gonna give him the money, that you all had some prior agreement to get the money. I mean, this is an awful daring murder in the middle of the day driving a neighborhood.
Detective points out the sheer audacity of the crime. Broad daylight, a suburban street, a chase into a home. The murderer took enormous risks that make no sense unless he was absolutely certain of a payoff. The detective's incredulity exposes the speaker's final lie, that he was a passive wisher, not an active contractor. But the timeline, the meeting, the phone call, all scream premeditation. The mind, it seems, will bend reality to avoid the mirror.
Chase her into the house, shoot her.
Seems unbelievable.
Without some prior agreement, especially when he comes to you. First he tells you it's done, just like he's reporting to you, and then he comes shortly after that, wants $35,000. He had to have some basis in fact for that.
Unfortunately, I mean, I don't know what to say.
Tell me about your relationship with Corey, whatever. I mean, because that's the same thing we've been going since day one. But
I mean,
as far
that's out
as
there.
the way he is and all that stuff, and
It's kind of like I said last time, the guy is loyal beyond all belief. And I think that's part of the reason that even after I said this other just wasn't going to happen, I couldn't do it, I was just kidding around, that when he told me that he'd been following her, I wasn't really surprised by that still. It's,
Well, you knew why he was following, didn't you? You didn't just think he was following, you didn't need a prior
yeah, but at
detective.
that point though, when he first told me, this still shocked me because I already thought it was all just kind of blown off. It was just a big thing.
You didn't
it
say
wasn't
quit
happening.
following. You didn't say quit following her, you didn't say
No,
why
sir,
you're
I
following.
didn't.
You knew.
No, sir, I didn't. And, that part hasn't changed at all. I'm not changing any of that or trying to change anything I've said so far. But it's just, that's the kind of person Corey is. If he likes you, he's that kind of person. I mean, I'm not surprised by this. Not as much as I'd like to be, but I'm not.
He's saying that you guys had a plan for bond money and things like that. That's what he's saying on tape.
It's one of the letters he wrote to me.
Yeah.
Was asking, hey man, if you get out, are you going to take care of me too? And I said, I'm not getting it. I got no money. That was my response to him.
But you all didn't discuss having a plan if you got arrested about getting out on bond?
Well, no, sir. I mean, my whole bond comes from my family, if anything. So, again, we didn't.
But he was telling if she got arrested to call you and you'd get her out on bond. And that's the last thing he said when they arrested him was
Really?
to her was to call you.
Well, that's what you told me. Yes, sir. No, sir. I have no way. Or if I had a way to get out of bond, I'd be trying to get a bond. Except I'm still sitting here. No, sir. There's none of that stuff. The more you tell me, the more fascinating it all becomes on that side of what he thought I was going to be able to do for him.
Well, you contacted the insurance company awfully early, didn't you? Like at the funeral, you talked to the financial guy, didn't you? And you were on the insurance pretty quick. And I know you said before that the lawyer told you to do
Sure.
it or something.
Yes, sir, he did. He said I should contact it because they may have
Yeah,
funeral clause in it. And it's exactly what I did. I just called. So, I mean, like I said, the funeral money came out of my pocket. I paid for her funeral.
But at the funeral, you knew at that time whether it was funeral money, right?
No, sir, I didn't. I paid for it. And I still don't know today if there's anything in the insurance clause about a funeral clause. I still don't know. And as far as the insurance guy at the funeral, when they saw me and we spoke, he gave me his card and said, call me because I know I've got a lot of information you're going to need. John Russell is who that was. Because I couldn't even remember his name, but I remembered his face in the crowd.
He told the police you came up to him and inquired.
Well, I was standing in line shaking everybody's hand as they came through. And his wife, Terry.
Corey's still writing you these letters saying stand strong, we gotta stay together, and all that stuff.
Yeah, the last one he wrote, which they're dated, has probably been over a week now, week and a half now. Like I said, I wrote on the 2nd, or the Tuesday, which was my birthday, just, hey, you okay, man? I haven't heard from you in a while. Because one of the last ones talked about, exactly what we discussed in here, and it kind of made me nervous. And then I wrote one last night just again, hey, man, how are you? Everything okay up there? Trying to keep the same thing going so that he doesn't know that I've even met with you guys yet.
There's no question Corey Cothran killed your wife. There's no question you all had prior discussions about it prior to it being done. No question he asked for money after it was done. No question he called and told you it was done right after it was done. There's no question you met with him that morning that she was killed right where she was picking up, close proximity where she was picking your son up.
Right.
And I think you told us you knew in your mind at that time what he was going to do.
I believed it, yes, sir, afterwards especially.
We're just trying to figure out where he got these delusions that he was going to get all this money and he was going to go to Barbados and he was going to do all this stuff if there wasn't some discussion about it. Obviously, you talked to him about Barbados because he talks about it. He's never been there.
The same place that he would talk about telling Jenny to call me to bail her out, or to do. I have no idea where he gets this stuff from. But you can see, and I'd seen previously on his Facebook before when we were working on the house, all the stuff he was putting on his Facebook was how we were partners in this house that we were remodeling and redoing, and he had photographs all over the thing like we weren't partners in any of the houses we did. They were ones I was doing for other people that owned them. I didn't even own those houses. But that was his thing on Facebook. He was this big real estate guy, and we were partners, and we were doing all these houses and making all this money.
Did he ever tell you where all his money came from he put up on his Facebook?
He said he won it in Vegas when he was out on the other coast. He said he won $100,000 playing one night. And you've heard those stories before, so I kind of believed it, went along with it. I saw the pictures of it, but other than that, I didn't know much about it.
And when was it he told you did these other murders? Was that after or before?
No, that would have been afterwards when we were talking.
About getting away with it.
Well, that's when he said, yeah, and I just said, like, I don't want to know much. He said, man, I've been tried twice already, and I've gotten off twice, and he wasn't so favorable of Trumby and the check or whatever his last name is, and he talked about some other stuff too. Like one time when they tried to pick him up, I think I told you before about he was the ecstasy king in town or something. Tried to get busted on that, and they couldn't get him, and so he was full of pomp and promise afterwards.
You were hoping he'd get away with it, right?
Especially after it happened.
Yeah.
Again, this is going to sound like I'm backpedaling, but I'm almost positive I said the same thing last time. I said these things, and then the criss-cross thing, and I said, hey, look, it can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not serious. After it happened, I was in a position where I told you, as much as I hated it, at the same time, part of me was relieved because I didn't have to deal with all the other crap I was dealing with. So at that point, I was to the point where, I kind of hope to, because I'm involved now, and I hope he gets away with it. Because if he got away with it, then, my whole concern, I know it doesn't make sense to anybody.
Well, you told us your concern was for your son, and that's what drove you to get involved in this.
Absolutely. That's why I kept my mouth shut and hoped. It may not even feel bad. It may not wasn't sorry. But I didn't
Seems to
lose
me
two of
like
us.
he saw that. You obviously discussed it with him, I think, as emotional as you were about your son.
Oh, he knows the way I feel about my son, absolutely. He knows I love him. I just said it down. He was there the one time Veronica told me she'd take him out. I wouldn't see him again.
And I think he used that to get you into this plan where he could make money by doing the killing. But he had to have some knowledge that you had some money.
Well,
Whether you did or not, he had to think that you had money.
well,
He was
there's no
gonna
doubt that he thought it. I mean, I've got 3 houses, a piece of land, you know. I'm working and we're making some money on the jobs I'm doing. There's money coming in. So there's no doubt that he thought I had money. I mean, hell, I bought him lunch almost every day. And that's part of what I do with things. So, I mean, I always had something in my pocket. But, you know, this is, I don't know. Maybe he trusted me well enough or felt enough that, like I said before, that he thought he could ask me if I could get it, I'd give it to him. And like I said before, if we got away with it, I definitely would have had to consider giving it to him. I know that sounds terrible, but it's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, he knew what Veronica wasn't doing. Veronica, she wasn't a movie producer or TV producer or anything like that back when he lived with you guys, was she?
No, when he met, like I said, she worked at Beaver Plus, and Corey's cousin was Veronica's boss.
Right.
And that's how he met her before he even met me.
But I mean, he lived with you guys. I mean, what was she doing then? I mean,
Television. But she wasn't at the producer level. She was at the lower, kind of what they call a gopher level, a PA.
Running productions,
Right.
undergraduate podcast so,
But I mean, I think he lived with us 8, 10, maybe 12 weeks at one point while they were remodeling his house over on Charlotte. I mean, he'd always been there like that. I'd always helped him and taken care of him and given to him if he needed something. And he was always there as part of our family. So, I mean, we've got a long history that would show that how if he needed something, then I was there for him when he needed it.
Did you think it was kind of strange the morning that he met you over there, so he would be right in the area where you were going to meet with Veronica, that he'd been with these 2 women, like he's talking about everything, he wasn't in his Escalade, he'd like to flash in, and he was in some beat-up van?
To be honest, I didn't really think twice about it, but yeah, now of course it does look kind of funny if you've been with him all night. Sorry, my legs are asleep.
might be.
You can stand over there.
Right, I'm afraid if I stand up, I'm gonna hurt worse right now.
I mean, I think we're about finished, really. If there's nothing else he can add, so.
I mean, I'll keep thinking. I've started writing notes down even as I've tried to think about things, to try and lay stuff out in my head. But I'm not really coming up with anything new so far that I haven't already given you. I mean, I promise I'll keep trying, because if there's something that helps, then that's what I want to do.
Well, we just want the truth, and we're having trouble.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Understanding the contractual kind of nature of this murder. About he meets you the morning it happens. He calls you up immediately to tell you it's done. He shows up at your house wanting money. You know, there just had been some kind of factual basis for all that going on. So we're thinking that you have have we sit down with Cotham if he decides to cooperate?
I promise you, I'm trying my best to cooperate.
He's not going to give us any information about any agreement you had or promise you made to him or anything.
Not that I'm aware. Well, he may tell you anything, as you already know for what he says. I'm telling you now what I can, because I know already why I'm here. That first time we met, after my 2 times coming out, coming back in, outside the last time I made my peace with myself, and said that it was time to come in here and be honest and tell the truth about what I did, what my responsibilities were for it. Because whether I tell you or not, truthfully, as you told me that day, there's a man above me, and I know that part of my life I've forgotten it, that I have to answer to.
And if I only give you pieces of truth, then no matter what I ask him for, he's still not going to give me anything. So the best thing for me to do is to come clear and be true and honest with you, and that's what I've done. I can't give anything
That's
more
all
than
right,
what there
yeah,
is.
just tell the
Exactly
truth.
right, and that's all I've done.
Yeah, maybe, I guess it was after that last meeting, a couple days later, whatever, when we met, there was something, I think that really angered you about when the iPad or something like that, didn't you?
Oh, well, that's what we said that day when you said that he'd given his daughter an iPad. And I said, well, my son's iPad is the one that's missing. If he gave my son's iPad, which my son, it's one of the things that was newest to him, his mom had just given him, he really loved, that bugged me. That bugged me quite definitely. And that's one of the things that really, I'll be honest, that kind of helped that teetering piece in my head and in my heart that day. I said, if he took something that was my son's after all this to give to his daughters. But I didn't know, it may not have been hers. I think you said you gave the detectives the receipts, but I don't know if they even followed up on it to find out the model numbers even matched it or not.
Well, he promised, but he never gave it to him,
No, but there you go.
supposedly, so.
But that's one of the things that, everything else already being done to take something else away from my son.
And you willing to take a polygraph? Wouldn't be admissible in court, obviously, but it's something we use as a tool to make us feel better about your
Yes, sir.
testimony.
I told you that the last time. Unfortunately, whatever I can to help. Because like I said, I know what I give you helps me.
Because we might want to set that up, obviously, it can't be used against you, but it's just a tool that can be used for us to feel comfortable that this is the way it went down,
Anything.
and not something the cop may come up with.
And if you come up with something in that, it may be that we can go a direction that I have not thought about, maybe, but to this day, I promise right now, I'm trying to give you everything I can.
Well, the
I
important,
can't make myself look any better than this.
the important question would be, obviously, did you have any agreement with Corey Cotham about money for killing your wife?
And that answer is no, sir, we
Prior
did not.
to the murder. And it's,
That answer is no, sir, we did not.
when he came and asked for the $35,000, and you told him you didn't have it, how did you leave? Because you obviously remained friends, talked on the phone, met at Home Depot, so he wasn't totally pissed off about anything.
It's like I said last time, he was kind of shocked by it all, because I think he really thought that I had something tucked away. And I told him, look, if I could get it, if I had it, if I could get it, I'd give it to him. Like I told you, I would give it to him, I believe, especially if we got through.
But you all left it, were you gonna try and get it for him when you sold property or something like that?
That's a possibility, maybe, but I don't know for
Okay,
sure.
let
That's
me-
a distinct possibility.
I mean, because you would think, he'd say, man, I just killed your wife, I want this $35,000, now you tell me you don't have anything. He wants to go to Atlanta, get a false identity, do all this kind of stuff, go to Barbados. But you all remain friends, remain talking, so I mean, there must have been some kind of resolution there about the $35,000.
Well, it was kind of left up in the oven, because right now there wasn't,
Well, at that time, you knew about the insurance, so if you
Right.
got it.
well, we knew it wasn't coming to me, that's what I told him. The moment it happened, and when we became suspects and all, when he told me that, I said, there is no insurance money. Well, it makes you think there's insurance money. And I'm primary
what's
suspect, there's not gonna be any insurance money coming my
Well,
way.
it's coming to you, you were the heir at the time until after the divorce, right?
No, sir. Well, I was a beneficiary, my son was secondary, but the moment this happened, the insurance company automatically had told whoever that I'd never see the daylight of it, unless I was found not guilty.
Well, you hadn't been charged at that time, so the insurance company might hold it up in an investigation, but.
Well, but
Yeah.
that's what I told him already, though, there would be no insurance money coming my way, just because, that was common sense kind of thing when he brought it up, when he asked for the money.
So he knew about the insurance.
Well, everyone knows that there's gonna be some kind of insurance, by that time I knew about it, and he talked about it, and I said, man, there is nothing. And I think actually I said that last time too, but, I'm trying to think of what else we might have said.
You're sure he didn't know about the insurance prior to the murder?
Yes, sir, positive. He may have known that I was planning on I had talked to my family about trying to take out a loan on that property, that severe court property, to get some renters in there and use that money to do some renovations on another place I was looking at. I'm trying to think if we talked about that. Because that's where I was gonna get the money to do the t-shirt, the sweatshirt, or the jersey.
then from, I was gonna take part of that money out of that loan to do that with for us. That could have been where he thought it was coming from. And I may have, when he said the 35,000, I don't know if I mentioned that or not, I may have at that point. Even said if the loan comes through.
How much was the
That would've
loan
kept
for?
it going. I was taking out an equity line of credit. I mean, it would have been for probably 104,000, but I owed like 62 on the house and another 10 to a family member that had loaned me some money to work on it with. So I was hoping to come out with like 30,000 I could pay some bills off with and then do the jerseys and stuff with. But yeah, before that, I know there was nothing, no talk of money except for that one time.
And you don't think he burned your other property down so you could get insurance money?
He wasn't even here that I'm aware of.
Anyway.
No, sir, he wasn't even here that I'm aware of. Plus, the other property wasn't even insured, so. No, sir.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions
I'm sorry.
at this time. So we'll be, I think we'll probably write a letter about possibly moving him, and then we can say we think that's a good idea.
Thank you.
And like I say, if you want to meet with your uncle or whoever, we can set that up.
I appreciate
We'll
that.
probably be setting up a polygraph for you too, okay?
That's fine.
All right. Okay.
Timothy Bozza was found guilty by a Davidson County jury of first-degree murder and subsequently sentenced in October 2012 to life in prison for conspiring to kill his estranged wife, Veronica Bozza, on August 29, 2010, at her home in Hermitage, Tennessee.